A few names, you know.
So are we reviewing financials?
She's gonna be here. Susie, she'll be here. She had a meeting to go to. She should be walking in pretty soon.
So I beat Susie here?
Put that in the minutes, huh?
The meeting is being recorded.
I beat Susie here.
It is 6 o'clock, and with the exception of Susie, I think we have everybody here that's gonna be here. Let's call this Monday, March 7th, 2022, a regular city council meeting to order. Call the roll, please.
Berglund, Walling,
Yes.
Schott,
Yes.
Klein,
Yes.
Thank you. Need a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
So moved.
Second?
Okay. Any discussion? I just want to say, as most of you already know by now, Susie's going to be here. She had a meeting she needed to go to at 5, and she expects it to be over maybe about now. She'll be here. We have the budget discussion workshop on our agenda tonight. We will wait till she gets here to have that, but I think that's a ways down on the agenda. I think by the time she gets here, we'll just be getting to it about that, or maybe not even quite. So we'll have Susie here for the discussion. Any other discussion on the meeting agenda? If not, call the roll, please.
Schott,
Yes.
Klein,
Yes.
Walling,
Yes.
Okay, moving on to the consent agenda. Tonight for the consent agenda, we have meeting minutes of the February 22nd regular city council meeting, minutes of the February 22nd, 2022 work session, payments for contract services, including Bolton and Mink General Municipal Engineering in the amount of $4,053.50. Bolton and Mink downtown 2020 downtown improvements in the amount of $1,942.50 for a total of $5,996. For claims, registers, and financials, we have $505,910.30 in payables. We have an additional $144,205.26 in payroll liabilities for a grand total of $650,115.56. We have some licenses and permits tonight, including the following: Hy-Vee Inc. doing business as Hy-Vee Food and Drugstore located at 1215 141st Street. Ownership update, removing Michael Skokin, Jeffrey Pierce, and Stephen Meyer from officer positions, and adding Michael Jurgens and Andrew Schroeder to officer positions. Prairie Project LLC doing business as Commonwealth Provisions / the Proletariat located at 1213/1215 Second Street. Renewal of a Class C liquor license with outdoor service area and Sunday sales privilege. Shop and Go LLC doing business as Blue Jay Market located at 2810 Willis Avenue. Renewal of a Class E liquor license with Class C carryout beer permit, Class B wine permit, and Sunday sales privilege. Dollar General Corporation LLC doing business as Dollar General Store number 7169 located at 705 First Street. Renewal of a Class C carryout beer permit, Class B wine permit, and Sunday sales privilege, as well as an ownership update, removing Lawrence Gatta and Jason Reiser from officer positions and adding Stephen Sunderland to an officer position. Fire Chief Chris Hines has been monitoring the storage situation at Dollar General and is satisfied that the manager is keeping the aisles and back room clear of the blockages. As you recall, last time we renewed their liquor license, we had some concerns about that, but Chief Hines is comfortable with what's happening right now anyway. So police and fire inspections have been completed and are on file at City Hall. Need a motion to approve those agenda items under consent items.
I move that we approve those agenda items. A second.
Any discussion? not, call the roll, please.
Walling,
Yes.
Klein,
Yes.
Schott,
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. City Administrator's report.
All right. Kind of my one thing tonight, other than any questions anybody might have, is just a little comprehensive plan update. The Bolton and Mink folks have been hard at work, doing a lot of the background information, demographics, things like that. And we do have the next steering committee meeting set for later this month, where they will present that and then kind of set the next steps of that comprehensive plan process. So exciting to continue moving forward with that and seeing where it goes. So any questions for me?
Did you bring the snow?
I did not. I would rather bring sunny and 80 degrees.
Anything else for Stan? Somebody brought the snow, but it didn't last long, so
No,
that's good.
but there's more. in this.
Maybe another taste on Thursday, Friday. Mayor, council comments? I don't think I really have anything tonight. Council comments? Nothing? Okay.
Guys did a nice job cleaning up the streets this morning.
They always do.
They do.
All right. Open forum. As per usual, speakers will be asked to step up to the microphone if they're here and not on Zoom, and state their name and address for the record. Individuals speaking will be given up to 3 minutes to address the council. Anybody here for open forum tonight, either in person or on Zoom?
We do have Mary Murphy on Zoom.
Okay, Mary Murphy, do you have an update?
Yes, I do. I just wanted to let people know that we are launching our first Conversation With program on Thursday night with Mayor John Endorf. And that'll last from 6 o'clock to 7:30 or whenever all the questions run out. But 7:30 is when we have to go home. So, okay, so I just wanted to make everybody aware of this new program and that you might be asked to be the next one. This is an opportunity for all the residents of Perry to come in and sit down and just have a conversation. Because at meetings, you're always having an agenda to and decisions to make, and it's not as open for residents to come in and talk to you. So thank you very much.
I think, Mary, I think that's really a good program that you're implementing. I hope it goes well, and I certainly hope people attend. What I plan to do is give some updates and not use much of the time doing that. And hopefully we'll have good attendance and people can ask questions and give me some feedback. That's what I'm planning on doing. I think it's great. It's going to be at the post at 6 o'clock, as you indicated, I believe. So thank you. Anyone else for open forum tonight? Seeing none, we'll move on to our special presentation from the Historic Preservation Commission. They're going to present their annual report as well as their 222 work plan. Be interested to hear about the plans.
Good evening, everybody. I'll be representing historical preservation for this little report. So as part of the certified.
Dan, you want to introduce yourself? You're fairly new. Not everybody.
Sure,
may-
certainly. Daniel Van Holland. I'm the Community and Economic Development Director here. in
Thank you.
Perry. So as part of the certified local government program administered through the state, historic preservation commissions are required to submit an annual report to the Iowa Historical Society. One of these requirements is that we present what we did in the previous year to the council and get the mayor's signature on a survey certification sheets. Just kind of in brief review, it wasn't a very busy year for historical preservation last year. We had 3 applications for a certificate of occupancy. That was at the Gamble Building, the Aiken Building, and the Harbeck Building, each at very different stages of completion. We did attach their applications, so if you want more details, they are available there. At the end of the year, we did have a few seats expire. Their terms were up and they chose not to renew. So we have been working to get individuals volunteering with that. I believe later on the agenda, we're approving one today. And as another sort of component of that annual report we have to submit to the state is a work plan for the year coming. So the sort of the third attachment to that big old report is that we approved that plan at our previous meeting earlier this week. It's essentially just several guidelines of ideas that we want to follow to sort of contextualize the work we do, and give us a better framework for how we conduct ourselves. More than happy to answer any questions, if anybody has any.
Any questions for Dave?
Well, thank you.
Thank you. Next item on our agenda is our public hearing. Tonight, we have a public hearing on the 2020 downtown street and utility improvement project. The city council will consider the plan specifications, proposed form of contract, and estimated total cost for the project, same as being on file in the office of the city clerk, reference to which is made for a more detailed and complete description of the proposed improvements. We'll also receive and consider any objections to said plan specifications, estimate of cost, and form of contract made by any interested party during this hearing. Again, this is a public hearing, a chance for anybody to present their views and also ask any questions. This public hearing will be open now at 6:11 p.m.
Put a long time to make it, I feel like. So, we did get 3 bids on the project. We did only get 2 bidders from Iowa, 1 from Minnesota. A little bit of background for everybody. If you remember when we set into this project, it was kind of right ahead of the onset of COVID and all the fun things that have happened here in the last couple of years. When we started this project, we worked on an estimate at the time. It was approximately $2.8 million. That was the information we used to put together applications for both the Iowa DOT RISE grant application and the Federal Economic Development Authority. Since that time, obviously, bid prices have gone up for almost all materials and all labor. And as we've seen in Iowa, a shortage of contractors and everything are impacting that, as we saw with our wastewater treatment plant. As we got close to the bid window on this, we've been tracking bid prices. We had put together an estimate that was fairly close to our low bidder, but is about 15% above where we started on this project over 2 years ago now. So I generally feel like the bid results were fairly close to what we expected. The low bidder is Row River Construction out of New London, Minnesota. They are someone that we've not had here, and actually personally I have not worked with them. I did do quite a bit of research with my counterparts across our Minnesota offices. They all spoke very highly of them. They've got some unique approaches into some of their construction methods, primarily in how they schedule their work. Sounds like in general, they do 7 and 8 days on, and then they go like 4 days off, kind of do a schedule that starts at sunrise and goes to sunset. So it sounds like they're very, very effective and aggressive while they're working during business hours. But for the most part, every referral I did get was a very positive experience with them. So based on what we're seeing for bid climates, I feel like it was, I'm confident in recommending it. Number one, I feel like it's probably a good contractor. And 2, we really probably are not going to see, similar to the plant, we're not going to see prices going down. I am at least comfortable in that, majority of this project is funded by outside entities from the city, but certainly it is an increase of almost $500,000 from when we started into this process 2 years ago. So with that, I would certainly take any questions.
Now, right now, we just got a bid on the main one. Is that true? All faces.
This is all of it, yes. Yeah.
So this is Bateman from First Street to Fourth, and then both Third and Fourth Street up to Rawson, and then a portion of Rawson back towards Second Street.
Yeah, a lot of this is tied to the expansions that are happening in the area, relocation of water, and then using the RISE money to help facilitate the project with the increased in the number of employees in the area.
And then for the city's portion of funding for this project, the plan, in 2020 was to use tax increment financing from the increase in value on those two properties. I feel like they've actually probably done more than what we anticipated then. So I feel like we could probably still, we'll have to issue new debt for that difference, but I feel like there's going to be increment there to be able to pay for that. But again, we also have some local option sales tax coming in the next couple of years over this construction cycle that we'll be able to look at, as well as possibly some of our American Rescue Plan funds. This would be an applicable block project for that as well. So.
I do also think there are some opportunities to work with the contractor to look for cost savings as part of their construction methodology on the project. They may not be large sums, but every little bit helps certainly. So
When will construction?
I don't know for sure. It would be this spring. It does have a completion into middle of next summer, because it is almost 7 blocks of reconstruction. So there's a lot of work. We did take that into consideration when we were setting into bidding it. Initially, we talked about it being one large project through one construction season. Very concerned about the ability to get materials. Something else I've been hearing through some of the recent conferences. Contractors generally are getting labor force that don't want to work on the weekends. Don't want to have excessive hours, which is equating out to contractors' projects taking longer. So that was all things that kind of contributed to let's look at a window that favors our bid climate. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's very much phased around getting access into all the industries there and keeping that as undisturbed as possible. So.
Any other questions for Matt or does anybody else have any input for this public hearing?
It was, exact dollar amount is $3,244,200.00. Approximately. That's what happened from where we started in 2020. The actual estimate going into this one was $3,244,520. So pretty close.
Thank you, Matt. Anybody else have any input for our public hearing? If not, this public hearing will now close at 6:17 p.m. And we'll move on to old business. First item under old business is resolution approving the award for the 2020 downtown street and utility improvements. Bids were received at 2 p.m. on March 2nd, 2022 for the downtown street and utility improvements. The engineer's estimate for the base bid of the project was $3,244,520. 3 bids were received. All bidders were responsive, and bids for the base bids are summarized as follows. Crow River Construction, new location, Minnesota, in the amount of $3,244,200. Next was Concrete Technologies, located in Grimes, Iowa. Their bid was $3,741,897.50. And the third bid was Absolute Concrete, located in Slater, Iowa, in the amount of $4,129,069.00. The bid received from Crow River Construction was 0.01% below the engineer's estimate for the project and was determined to be the lowest responsive bidder. Bolton and Mink Inc. reviewed the bid documents submitted and checked references on the bidder and was satisfied with the responses given. Bolton and Mink recommends award of the 2020 downtown street utility improvements to Crow River Construction for the bid amount of $3,244,200. This resolution would award the bid upon Iowa DOT and federal economic development concurrence. Need a motion, please?
I make a motion to approve resolution approving the award for the 2020 downtown street and utility improvements to Crow River Construction.
Second that.
Discussion? Certainly was some variation in the bids. There was quite a gap from low to high. Any other discussion on the bids? If not, call the roll, please.
Klein,
Yes.
Walling,
Yes.
Schott,
Yes.
Thank you. Next item under old business, approval of pay application number 9 for the wastewater treatment facility improvements. Pay application number 9 in the amount of $1,289,026.72 to Woodruff Construction for the construction of the wastewater treatment facility improvements. To date, total payments requested by the contractor is 21.6% of the total amount of work to be completed under the contract. All documents have been reviewed and signed by the engineer and are recommended for approval. Need a motion, please? For pay application number 9.
I move that we approve pay application number 9 for the wastewater facility to approve construction.
I'll second.
Discussion?
Matt and Dave here.
Little update. Right now, they're pouring the clarifier walls. These walls are 16 feet tall, about 2 feet wide. They're doing a quarter at a time. So each Thursday, they're gonna pour, I don't know, 10 truckloads, I suppose, 90 yards. And when the forms cure, they're gonna move them over to the next section. So each week, there's gonna be a pour on Thursday. And right now, there's 2 pours done. They're gonna pour one this Thursday, pour another next Thursday, and by May 1st, we'll probably have 2 cylinders out there.
So they're doing the full height.
The full height.
Only a quarter at a time.
Yep, quarter at a time. That's all they had forms for, I guess. So, I mean, those forms are,
Those are big.
they're expensive, and I think they had to rent them. There's also some precast walls that are being shipped. They're on their way. It's gonna be a small, it's for the electrical room next to the pre-treatment building. That's where that's gonna be. And,
So how do they actually put these together so that you don't have any gaps?
you mean where they end one and start another? Yeah, and that's, when this is all done, they're gonna do a leak test on it too.
Well, I hope so.
So there's a 4-inch fire hydrant main out there. And they're gonna fill that full of water. It's gonna hold water for a certain amount of time. 48 hours, no leak detected. But you know, they use and I don't know, I haven't been up close because I don't want to get around to the big equipment.
Yeah.
I don't want to get in their way, so. I've been using a rubber, just a rubber gasket type thing. And I think they stick it in the old concrete when it's curing. And then as they pour the new one, that rubber gasket that'll be their water seal, I guess is what they call it. Oh, yeah, there's rerun. There's lots and lots of rerun. There's stacks of rerun out there. Many tons of rerun. They told me how many tons. But yeah, the rebar guys, you know, they'll be tying the rebar as these guys are putting forms up. And when concrete cures, they tear the forms down, move it to where they just put rerod. And then they'll work on that next section of rerod. Start on the other. So it's quite a process. But yeah, so we're gonna have month and a half's time, we're 285. Big silo out there.
No, that's pretty much everything in the last couple weeks in structural. So a lot of slabs going in, a lot of walls going up. I was gonna highlight,
I was gonna have you highlight what you're about to highlight.
we volunteered some time to come in and talk about city engineering things here with DMAC students, a lot of the things that are going on around the community. And then took a group of 27 students out on a tour of the wastewater treatment plant here last week. So kind of fun to see and have them get involved and ask a lot of good questions. And fun to have them be involved with it.
Good.
Oh, yeah.
Is the project pretty much on schedule right now?
It's within a 2-week window of where they actually predicted, which is pretty amazing, given the fact that they popped around a lot as materials became available. That were in this area, then when rebar shows up for this building, to move over, work at this one. And then as pipe shows up, to move over, work at this pipe. So they're within 2 weeks.
That's not bad considering all the issues we face anymore.
Yeah, right now, the plan is at this point, to turn the new plant on operational in June of 2023, and then be done and moving out all the way by Christmas of 2020. So.
Good. Thank you, gentlemen, for the update. Moving on to the next item under old business.
We need a vote.
Oh, call the roll, please.
Walling,
Yes.
Klein,
Yes.
Schott,
Yes.
Thank you. Now moving on to our next item under old business, fiscal year 2023 budget work session and update. Susie and Sven.
You want
I
to
think-
start with capital?
I think this will be pretty short and sweet. Capitals were included in the budget packet. You know, as we always say, our departments are really great about putting forth projects that are very reasonable, and I don't have to do a lot of cutting. So that's always an ease on my mind, but the final capital recommendations are in there. As part of that, it's one that is $250,000 for the downtown upper story housing program. And a couple of years ago, Susie and I started being a little bit more strategic of budgeting very conservatively in the upcoming budget year. And then during this budget time, looking back and seeing what our end fund balance will be. So that's one of the projects that for sure I would like to be able to fund out of that fund balance, and keeping kind of a healthy reserve in our local option sales tax fund. So again, you guys saw the draft of that. Daniel and I will probably be working on bringing more of a final version to city council for consideration in the next couple of months. So. Any questions on capitals? I think this is our second year that I asked all the departments to fill out the same form sheet for their capital requests. So all that was in the Google Drive from the beginning, but that really helps me go through and look at all of their requests, apples to apples. So hopefully that's helpful to city council as well. But we'll plan on continuing to do that into future budget years.
Good.
It's really what I've got for capitals. So now it's the Susie show.
And with capitals, I just want to let everybody know, we're still very conservative on how we budget for the revenue coming in from local option sales tax. We would never want to budget like the entire amount that I think we're going to get, or the state says we're going to get. We always budget, to at least have a couple $100,000 in reserve in case something happens. So I just want to make everybody aware that we're very conservative and we have all bases covered. So moving on from capitals to last time we discussed the general fund, we haven't made any changes to that. That's fine, and that did not go over budget or anything. But what was kind of the only thing that we could adjust anyway to lower the levy rate is the benefit fund. So there was a couple things, 3 things we looked at. One of them was to put, to credit back the $24,537 from the commercial and industrial property tax levy back into the fund, so we wouldn't have to subtract that off of the levy amount. Transferring last year, and we have done this before, transferring 25,000 from the sewer fund to assist with administration and other benefits. And then something we've never done, but now that our local option sales tax is pretty healthy, maintenance, local option maintenance, the wages paid for the 2 full-time maintenance staff, and then 1 part-time, I think Randy's a maintenance too, not the maintenance ones, they're on the general fund. But we've never taken any of their wages out of the benefit fund or out of the local option maintenance fund. So this year, since we do have a healthy balance, and we were able to budget what we needed out of that fund, we're able to transfer 36,000 from the local option fund into the benefit fund to pay for those 2 full-timers benefits, or a part of it, not all of it. So now I'll tell you the good news. The last meeting, we were looking at well over $18 for the levy. With those 3 transfers and changes, we can get it down to 17.99825. So it's a hair under 18, but it's under 18.
I'm so proud.
Good for you. So that's, I told the mayor it went up a cent, but it was 2 cents actually.
2 cents.
Yeah. But considering where we started, it's amazing.
Yeah. And again, with Susie's spreadsheet, the last budget workshop, with the rollback, residential property taxes are, even though our rate is going up 2 cents, residential property taxes are still going to see a significant reduction across the board just due to the rollback. So,
And we still haven't got an answer yet on the work comp. If they're able to let us use any of their reserves. Hopefully, I think they were going to be able to meet with us
I think so. In the next,
shortly, hopefully. And maybe we won't need to transfer the entire amount to those 2 other funds. Maybe we'll be able to.
and as always, I have to brag on Susie because she's an absolute rock star. I would say this budget year was different than usual with a little bit of illness sprinkled in, but Susie definitely went above and beyond as usual and helped get things done. And also thanks to Liz for helping keep me. It takes both Susie and Liz to keep me in line. So I think Susie said there was only one time this budget season she wanted to hit me, so.
I said smack the phone out of your hand.
That's good. We're making progress.
If it's only once, it's a good year.
Yeah.
Kudos to Susie and for all the work she does. She puts in a lot of extra hours during budget season and audit season, and then summer and spring as well. So,
Good job, Susan.
Any other questions about the budget?
I'm so proud of you.
As Sven already said, and as we said, I think during our previous workshop. Yeah, thank you, Susie, Sven, Liz, everybody, department heads for their hard work on putting their information in, and everybody who was involved. Once again, it turned out pretty well. Thank you. Moving on to resolution setting a public hearing date on the proposed fiscal year 2023 budget. This resolution would set a public hearing for March 21, 2022 at 6 p.m. in this building, the 2nd floor meeting room for the Town Craft Building, 1122 Willis Avenue in Perry, Iowa, on the proposed budget for fiscal year ending June 30, 2023. The Perry City Council desires to inform the public at the hearing and to receive comments from the public on the proposed budget. Need a motion to set the public hearing?
I make a motion to approve resolution setting a public hearing date on the proposed fiscal year 2023 budget.
Again, this is just setting the public hearing. Any discussion on setting the public hearing?
And we do, we publish like the public hearing notice. But we also will, put the budget documents, like including the memo and the capital expenditures and some of that other, and the full budget document on our website. And then we also put a copy at the rec center, the library, and city hall, if people want to look at it.
Thank you. Any further discussion on the setting the public hearing? If not, call the roll, please.
Klein,
Yes.
Schott,
Yes.
Walling,
Yes.
Thank you. Moving on to new business. First item on our new business is a resolution authorizing the publication of public notice for the council's intent to fill a vacancy by appointment. This resolution would authorize the publication required by the Code of Iowa stating the resignation of council member Height and the council's intention to fill the vacancy for Ward 2 by appointment. It will provide instructions for those wishing to be considered for appointment and will also notify that the council intends to make such appointment at its regular council meeting at 6 p.m. on Monday, April 4th, 2022, in the second floor meeting room of the Towncraft Building located at 1122 Willis Avenue, Perry, Iowa. By code, it will also notify residents of their right to request a special election by filling the petition. As we all know, Councilman Height resigned at our last meeting, so this is the process we'll be following to fill that. Need a motion, please?
I move the approval of resolution authorizing the publication of public notice for the council's intention to fill a vacancy by.
I'll second that.
Discussion?
I hope people will step forward.
I hope so too. If anybody, once this goes out, if anybody asks or anything, I'm more than willing to meet with folks to talk through, city projects and kind of some of the overall where city things are headed. And I'm sure we'll probably, if they have council questions more so, what is it like being a council person? We might volunteer some of your names out there to be able to just talk to people about your experience and all the glowing things you have to say about the job.
And they can contact me too if they have any questions for me.
Absolutely.
Were you going to send us a script?
I can write something up for you.
Any other discussion related to this resolution? As it's already mentioned, hope we get some good candidates. We'll see where we go from here. Any other discussion? If not, call the roll, please.
Schott,
Yes.
Walling,
Yes.
Klein,
Yes.
Thank you.
Look, Mr. Mayor, excuse me, I need to back up just a second. The length of this term.
It would go to the next regular city election.
Okay.
So Mr. Height was just elected for a 4-year term in 2021. Took effect January 1st, 2022. So this person would be on the ballot in 2023
At our
To
regular
be-
November election.
to be officially elected in that capacity.
Which will skew kind of how things have worked because it'll be 4 council people up for election. Whereas in our election cycles for a long time, at least, it's been 3 one election cycle and 2 the other. It is what it is. Okay. Next item is approval of a Historic Preservation Commission member. Mr. Brian Eitman submitted a letter of intent on February 25th, 2022, volunteering to serve on the Historic Preservation Commission, which currently holds a vacant seat. Mr. Eitman was previously on the commission where he spent 4 years as the vice chairperson. Mr. Eitman stated in his letter of intent that he is currently a member of the Dallas County Historic Preservation Commission, and he has had a lifelong infatuation with history that has led him to author the history of the Perry Fire Department and co-author A Brief History of Perry. This appointment would be for a 3-year term, and if appointed, would end on March 7, 2025. Need a motion, please?
I move that we approve Brian Eichman as a member of the Historic Preservation Commission.
I'll second.
Discussion.
Thank you for stepping forward, Brian.
Again, we thank Brian and everybody else who always steps forward to fill our vacancies on these commissions and boards. Any other discussion? If not, call the roll, please.
Walling,
Yes.
Schott,
Yes.
Klein,
Yes.
Thank you. Next item, resolution setting a schedule for the 2022 yard waste disposal dates and procedures. This resolution would set the 2022 schedule for all non-burning disposal of yard waste to be collected on Wednesdays, only beginning April 6, 2022 and ending December 7th, 2022. It will also set the procedures in which yard waste disposal will have to follow to be collected. Need a motion, please?
I'll make a motion to approve resolution setting the schedule for 2022 yard waste disposal dates and procedures.
I'll second that.
Discussion on the yard waste procedures and schedule.
Pretty much the same as every other year. Bundle sticks, twigs, branches, and then nothing can be over 40 pounds or 4 feet in length. And if it's going to be raining that week, please keep it inside and as dry as possible because the yard waste bags do not hold up well. Right?
And
And we'll probably have to do that reminder several more times during the year.
pay closer to the schedule because sometimes I think people lose track that the rotation changes because of a holiday or that kind of thing. And then I see, as we all do, those bags sit out there for a couple of weeks. And usually during that period of time, it's rained and they're a little soggy. But yeah, nonetheless, it's a good program. Any other discussion?
Jack, fundamentally, it works pretty well, doesn't it?
Yes.
Okay. If there's no other discussion, call the roll, please.
Klein,
Yes.
Schott,
Yes.
Walling.
Yes.
Resolution setting rules for the yard waste disposal site. City staff has determined the need for an official yard waste disposal site after running a trial last fall. With this, city residents only will be able to dispose of yard waste at a drop site. This resolution would approve the designation of the site located at 14325 Ivy Place, the property in which the sanitation department is housed. The site will be open from 7 a.m. Until 8 p.m. daily. The site may also be closed without notice at city staff's discretion due to site conditions or unforeseen circumstances. The site will be monitored and recorded by security cameras at all times. This resolution also approves the rules and regulations as provided in the council packet and allows the illegal dumping fine of $500 minimum to be administered to any violators of the posted rules. Need a motion, please?
I move that we pass a resolution setting the rules for the yard waste disposal site.
I'll second.
Discussion.
I think this is
Jack,
the
I
best
don't know
thing
if
we've
you have
done.
anything to say, but met with Jack and Josh, and I think we all felt that except for one or two issues that I think Chief Vaughn was able to take care of, people really respected that site, took care of it, and really helped police it themselves. Things were orderly, and organized, and things were placed where they were supposed to be. So there really weren't any major issues. I think the issue really was just a cardboard box of yard waste that was dumped off, and so that was taken care of. But so when we met, we talked through how to set this up, and really kind of most of the discussion was around the days and the hours. But at the end of the day, we really figured with the camera system we have out there, and we've never really had problems with people being out there without the yard waste site snooping around, that we could probably just be open the set times of every day and probably year round, again, based on weather. So a day like this, or maybe a week like this, where it's in this freeze thaw sloppy situation, it might not be open, but I think they are gonna plan on putting some more rock out there and even organizing a little bit more for this summer season. So I think the only thing that may change, and it depends on the gates that are gonna be installed, we're gonna have an automatic gate at the, called the wastewater entrance, right there off of Ivy Place, but then.
Ivy Place is the diagonal, right?
Correct. And then we'll also have an automatic gate in front of the sanitation department as well. So we're looking into exactly, Mr. Ferrier is looking into that automation, if we can have it set by time. But we know that it can have basically a sunrise, sunset timer to it. So it could have an eye that just opens at sunrise, it closes at sunset. So if that's the way the mop flops on the technology of the gate, that's probably the only thing that we would come back and just say, the hours are sunrise to sunset based on when that photo eye opens the gate. And my concern was, and it was negated, there, you can get out of the gate. It has a sensor if it closes when you're inside the gate. So I could only imagine the calls the police department would get. I'm locked in the wastewater plant or whatever. But I think Jack and Josh did a great job putting that together last year on the fly, kind of, and testing it out. So probably a little bit to their chagrin, but I think it went well, and it really took a big load off of the guys on Wednesdays doing the yard waste pickup. So that allowed some free for those guys to get some other things done as well. So kind of balances out. And then I think we're able to dispose of it just fine. So
These hours will just totally alleviate all the complaints I ever had.
The hours and daily.
Yeah. And they,
Yep.
that was the biggest problem, is that people couldn't get to it.
And I think the important thing is to say that the cameras are really good out there,
Yes,
and
Yeah.
they are.
we'll be able to see exactly who comes in and out. So
Who's been naughty and nice? Huh?
that's right. It's just like Santa.
All right.
We'll
No,
get Jack a nice beard or something.
I think it's great that we got this up and running last fall, and it's fantastic that it went so well without really any real serious glitches. So again, some good planning and good cooperation on the part of our citizens, and I think people really do appreciate it.
And this will open pretty much immediately.
I think last week, the plan was for Tuesday morning, but given this morning's snow, I think it just depends on site conditions. So,
I don't think people
Dot,
are
dot,
gonna be
dot.
doing a lot of yard work.
yeah, it might be open really early in the morning when the ground is still frozen or something like that. So,
Okay, any other discussion? If not, call the roll, please.
Walling,
Yes.
Schott,
Yes.
Klein.
Yes.
Thank you. Next item, approval of a 3-year service agreement with MediaCom Business for the McCurry Community Building, Internet and Phone Services. This agreement would be to provide better call quality for the phone at the McCurry Building, along with increasing the internet speed by more than double what is currently there. After the renovation, several low voltage items were added to the internet usage, such as clocks and security cameras, creating a need for a faster service. This would also bundle services and provide for discounted rates. The current phone services are through Windstream, and internet is already through MediaCom Business. Need a motion?
I move the approval of the 3-year service agreement with MediaCom Business for the McCreary Community Building, Internet and Phone Services.
I'll second.
Any discussion on making that change? If not, call the roll, please.
I was just gonna say, I think it's only been in the last few years that the Curry Center offered public Wi-Fi access, and that has been amazing for the patrons out there. I
Oh,
think
yeah.
they've really appreciated that, especially now as everybody is working out, streaming music, streaming Netflix while they run or whatever. I think it's really elevated the level of service out there. One of the capital items was a TV management system that they'll be able to better control all of the TVs in the building, and actually like just time them so they automatically shut off in the hours that there's really nobody in the building, things like that. So again, just I think those types of things are really elevating the level of service that we can provide at the rec center.
This is
This is not
not,
TV.
this is not TV. Yes, this is only internet.
Sounds good. Any other discussion?
There will be a TV conversation coming up once we get some other conversations had.
Okay,
We just wanted to move forward with getting the internet speed increased as well as, once again, getting to a better phone quality.
sounds good. Any other discussion or questions? If not, call the roll, please.
Sean,
Yes.
Klein,
Yes.
Walling,
Yes.
Thank you. Next item, resolution setting a public hearing for the application of a CDBG water/sewer grant. The city wishes to apply for a CDBG grant in the amount of $600,000 to help fund the downtown reconstruction phase 1 project and will seek additional funding sources to complete this phase. Phase 1 will focus on Warford Street from First Avenue to Third Street and the parking lot at Warford Street and First Avenue and the alleyway adjacent to the parking lot. Due to the size of the project, this project will be completed in multiple phases. The downtown reconstruction project will include a full roadway reconstruction, improvements to downtown parking areas and alleys, water quality improvement features, traffic signalization/signage, pedestrian sidewalks, and beautification efforts in an effort to bring about new economic development to the downtown area. The city is confident that these improvements will bring about new businesses and upper story housing to the area, as well as keeping residents and visitors in the downtown area longer. With these improvements to the downtown, visitors will be more inclined to not only stay in the downtown longer, but are also more likely to visit the area again. Need a motion, please?
I move to pass a resolution setting a public hearing for the application of a CDBG water and sewer grant.
I'll second that.
So this funding would pair with that SRF sponsored project funding. That was the downtown project was one of those projects that we had in that application for those funds from the state. So we're again, just like the Bateman project, we're trying to squirrel away as many different funding sources as we possibly can. So there will probably be a couple of others, but this is just part of that CDBG application process that we have to go through.
Question I have about this project, and maybe something. When you drive down that alley, there's one dumpster after another, all the way down there, and I just wondered if there could be some bundling of those in such a way that they're not such a ugly sight. I don't know.
I'm probably not ready to answer that question, but I will let you know, we are taking that into consideration with the design of the alley, so it will have pavement that's beefed up for that application. So it is something we're watching very close.
I was gonna say, because you go down through there and, you've got dumpster after dumpster after dumpster after dumpster all the way down the alley. And it looks like hell, they roll out of the alley when it's windy.
And those trucks are hard on pavement with that application.
I've had a conversation with one of the business owners down there, and I think it's a possibility, but I think a lot of the issues would revolve around, who owns the, whatever we'll call entrapment device.
Enclosure.
Enclosure, that's probably a better term. who owns the enclosure, who's responsible for maintaining it, but then also, I think in that alley, every single dumpster has a different pickup schedule, so then you get into even more of a who's putting what garbage in where and how do you, like, I think of, there's just a lot of considerations around billing and use and maintenance and things like
And
that.
according to our code, multi-residential units have to have a certain amount of dumpsters.
Yeah.
And pickups per.
So there's,
Well, anything that we can do to clean it up would be,
and downtown is hard
yeah,
just because there's so much
well,
around.
and along there, there's so many of them.
Yeah, which,
And I'm sure that the businesses don't want to have to walk halfway down the alley to dump their trash.
right.
Yeah.
Yep.
But-
Well, and that's why on new developments, we do, as part of the site plan process, look at dumpster enclosures and where's your dumpster gonna be? How many dumpsters will you need? How big will they be? Now that we have the larger dumpsters, it's not so much, it's a little bit more difficult because you have to back up right to it. So like in that alley, if somebody had a 4-yard dumpster or an 8-yard dumpster,
It's tough.
you would have to be able to back right up to it. So it's been discussed, but there's just a lot of just details that would have to be worked out.
How often is pickup?
I would say probably every building has a different schedule. Because some might get one pickup a week, some are picked up Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. Some might be Monday, Friday, so.
So it's a schedule that they can choose.
Correct.
What they need.
Yep, based on the volume that they.
I do not see a date for our public hearing. Is this gonna be at our next council meeting?
Well, there was a date in there. Might not have been in the, at the very, or maybe I didn't have it in your guys' piece. It's March 21st, 2022 at 6
I don't think
p.m.
it's in the
second
piece
floor.
that I
It's
read.
not in-
Oh, sorry, it's on the resolution that was
Okay.
in the packet. though.
Okay. All right, thank you. Any other discussion? If not, call the roll, please.
Walling,
Yes.
Schott,
Yes.
Klein,
Yes.
All right, thank you. Next item, land acquisition purchase agreement, which is resolution authorizing a purchase agreement, land acquisition of property situated in Dallas County, Iowa. The city of Perry deems it desirable and in the best interest of the community to acquire a portion of property owned by Mr. Carl Steckenholtz located north of Iowa Highway 141, identified as parcel ID number 0214126001 of approximately 8 acres at a purchase price of $17,500 per acre. The exact purchase acres will be determined after the survey is completed. The purpose of this purchase is for Iowa Street Stormwater Wetland Project. Funding for the purchase will come from SRF's sponsored project and a local match from the Stormwater Fund. Need a motion, please?
We move that we approve the resolution authorizing the purchase agreement, land acquisition of property situated in Dallas County.
I'll second.
Discussion.
So this
That
is.
Seems like a pretty high purchase price for. that
So-
property.
For just farm ground, it was a healthy price. But Mr. Stuckenholtz did purchase this, I think in 2020 or 2021, kind of to help the city and Perry Economic Development because the previous owners wanted to put it up for sale. Percival needed a part of it to expand their property. And those owners didn't want to just parcel off, 10 acres for Percival Scientific. We need about 8 acres on that piece. So Mr. Stuckenholtz was kind enough to come in and purchase all of it and then parcel off. There's that 10 acres for Percival, about 7, this triangle here. Perry Economic Development bought for the same purchase price. And then we will purchase this 8 acres, which will leave about 10 acres here for hopefully future development. One of our first drafts of this, we programmed purchasing this whole area, except for maybe 3 or 5 acres, and having all of the wetland area on that property. But once Matt and I really started talking through that, it kind of came to that this is the lowest, least development potential area. And that this area really had some development value that would go on the tax rolls and benefit our budget. So that's when we kind of switched our approach to this kind of, you know, what did we call it? And staggered flow kind of. So some of it will still go down the existing storm sewer here, and then some of it will go over. This is another parcel. John Peters owns this. We're in conversations with him about that acquisition as well. So that will be forthcoming. And then we're going to be working with Perry Economic Development to probably get an easement on this property to be able to get to this kind of convergence of intakes. So this goes back to that whole conversation that we talked about with the stormwater pressure here, and then where Willis Avenue floods here. Our hope is that that relieves some of the pressure and slows that flow down so that it takes longer to get from this area to this area, so that all of this water can flow out before there's a heavy pressure somewhere else.
So will we be excavating at the site to make up?
Yes. Yep.
pond area?
Yep, and I'm not sure how deep it'll be, varying depths, you know, but we haven't seen an actual.
It will have varying depths in it. It's not deep enough that we're gonna have fishing or anything like that. It's gonna be designed as a true wetland. So we'll have different grasses and things that have to grow
Yeah.
at different depths of water.
Sure.
The deepest, I think, is around 5 feet. And then it'll go all the way up to about 18 inches. in some spots. And the water level will fluctuate up and down depending on how wet of a summer we're having, how much rain event we get, all those kind of things. So I don't have an answer as much on the second parcel, as we're just really getting into that one. That was kind of something we kicked around later in the design process. So we know hydraulically it works, but we don't have the design portion of that done quite
So
yet.
we're going to have to. Or.
Yep.
Another aspect of the project, and this will probably be a REAP grant for part of it, is having a little bit of a park area over here. You know, there's obviously a lot of residential nearby, so it'll be nice to be able to provide a little bit of parking, hopefully a shelter house, maybe some bathroom facilities, and then a little bit of a playground. So that's kind of another aspect of the project. So taking something, in my mind, taking something that is very much a utility of we're trying to control stormwater quantity and quality with this project, but we're also able to turn it into an amenity for that neighborhood. And hopefully relieve some flooding issues that have been commonplace in the neighborhood.
Any other questions or discussion?
Well, it's, you know,
But
it's kind of
in
that
this-
balance of it's farm ground right now, but the area has development potential, so it is kind of a in between. We're actually, I will say, lucky that that is the price, because the price for all the other ground around it for other people is a little bit higher. So we are, Mr. Stuckenholtz was very, very kind to be able to purchase this and hold it for a little bit so that both Perry Economic Development and the city could have some time to put their projects together.
Any other discussion?
Would there be any type of fencing around there? Because I know there's a lot of kids. They play soccer out there. and stuff. Will they be able to?
There wouldn't be any fencing, but it would be more of like cattails, so a natural fence, I would say. It won't be like water's edge so much.
Zero entry.
Yeah. Like a zero entry pool, but very similar to what we have at the soccer complex. There's a path around it. I think this shows hopefully a path around a trail around the edge of the wetland as well, just to have some recreational opportunities.
But you are correct. There's a lot of kids. out
Oh,
there.
little kid, they run up down that street.
And that's where I really hope we can, maybe put up a nice playground set to help them have a place to.
Anything else related to this land acquisition agreement? Before we vote? If not, call the roll, please.
Schott,
Yes.
Klein,
Yes.
Walling,
Yes.
Okay. Having no other business before us tonight, we stand adjourned at 7:05 PM. Thank you.